And then I recently read one of my friend's posts, and he was talking about suicide. And suicide is so prevalent, more than we ever really talk about. And to have suicide happen, there's so many unanswered questions. People don't realize the pain that people suffer from. So I urge everyone to take care of your mental health. Things are depressing right now. This time is depressing. We're on lockdown, our COVID mask and all this other stuff, but don't be depressed and don't be despondent. Always reach out for help. If you need some, don't be ashamed to ask for it. And just so you know, I have had help. I've had a therapist. I have, all of my doctors are excellent to me. I'm not disrespected, but if I am, I'll call them out.
Exactly.
I don't beat around the bush. Excuse me, what did you say, sir?
I think
do I look like your father? Does your father dress like this?
We won't work together, no.
No, honey. And so that was how that's what saved my life. And I remember also, I found out then that when I was back home with my parents that I had AIDS. First it was HIV.
For you, this was my next question. So you were actually around during the HIV/AIDS pandemic. Describe that to me. You said that you went back to your family's house, and that's when you found out that you had AIDS, right?
Right. I found out, and I'm such a ham, and I was in bed dying. I didn't feel good, and I was telling my father, "Oh, Father, this is it. This is the big one. I'm going on to the great heavens." And he goes, "Again?" I was like, "No, Dad, I'm really sick this time." So I went to the hospital, and they started IVs and everything at the VA hospital in Marion, Illinois, because I was in Evansville, Indiana, which is where my family lived then. And I'm the oldest of 4 siblings, or well, 3 siblings. I'm the 4th one. And I had 2 brothers and a sister, and both of my brothers died. My youngest brother died of AIDS when he was 27.
Oh my goodness.
And my oldest brother died of needing a new liver from all the drugs that he had been doing. So he had been really addicted and off the chain. So we've had a lot of loss in our family. But
so you really are the queen of the family. You were able to survive through all of this.
I have, and my mom, I just talked to my mom this morning. I told her I was doing your interview, and I sent her this cute picture of me in my red outfit I had on the other day, and she goes, "Oh, don't show your purse." And I was like, "No, Mom, I'm not wearing that outfit today. I'm wearing something else, so don't worry about it." So my red bandana signifies the blood of all the transgenders that have been lost over time. And this is blood on top of my shirt that says, "Stop killing us.
Stop killing us. Black trans lives matter." When will people understand? When will people understand?
I think that, well, when about the AIDS thing, I remember I had a patient. I was at the VA hospital, and he was a nice guy. He was bisexual, and his wife, he got AIDS and she didn't. And she had left him alone, and he was heartbroken. He went down to the X-ray, and he came back. This was in '86. He came back, and this was in New York. He came back. Everybody had on hazmat suits, like they almost look like those old Martian movies with the big halos on and stuff. And he was in tears because he felt so disrespected and treated so much like, not like a human being, but just treated like an animal. And he was upset. And I kissed him on his forehead, and I told him, I said, "Honey, things are gonna be all right. You're gonna, things will be okay. I'm sorry that they hurt you, but you got my support, and I'm your nurse, and we'll manage." And so we managed until he died. And then back then they also we had another patient, and he had parties in his room every night. And the doctor kept saying, "Are you going to tell him? Are you going to tell your friends? Are you going to tell your friends?" And the doctor said, "If you don't tell your friends that you have AIDS, then I'm going to tell them." And I don't know who told, whether he told them or the doctor told them, but his room that was packed with 30 or 40 people every night with champagne and laughing and all that. Right. The place was empty. He was by himself, and he was very bitter and lonely, and I felt bad for him.
Of course, we're human beings too. We need to
feel. So yeah, and so AIDS was really decimating. And back then, when I was in New York, I lost a lot of friends in New York. Studio 54, I think only me and Grace Jones are living. They used to go to studio. We're the only two that I know. Now I saw another one on a video. So I think there's a few left.
You
but,
guys are.
But I made it. And I was so, when I reached 45, I was like, oh, this is wonderful. I crossed the threshold because people from, and especially Black women from the ages of 25 to 35 were getting, or to 35 were being infected. And because their mates weren't telling them, their husbands weren't telling them that they were down low or whatever was going on. And then men were being, and trans people were being affected from the age of 25 to 45. Mm-hmm. And so to have passed that 45 mark for me was a landmark, because I'm still here.
A blessing, right? A blessing.
Yeah, a total blessing. And you have to take your blessings wherever they come from, you take them.
Take them, exactly. And my love, my last question for you is, let's end this on a positive note. What positive words do you have to say to any trans women of color going through a hard time? Do you have a word of encouragement for them?
I do.
You do.
I would tell you to look into yourself. Take time, look into yourself and assess your own needs. If you need help, especially if you're having anxiety about the pandemic, whatever's going on about the transgender murders and everything, I would say know your surroundings. If you feel uncomfortable, have somebody go with you, don't be alone. If you're a prostitute, and I was a good one, I made a lot of money, but if you're a prostitute, you want to make sure that you tell them in advance. Because I had a girlfriend she told them in advance, and she wasn't even a prostitute, and she was just in her car, and some guy whistled at her. And then his friend was with him, and then when he came over to the car, she said, I'm a trans woman. And so then his friend started making fun of him. And so this is what I want to talk about the Black men, because it's Black men that are killing Black trans women here in the United States. That it is Black men, and we have to, and in all cultures, we have to make sure that we have the women. It's the women's responsibility to teach men to love everybody.
Exactly.
And that there's no pressure on who you love. And there's also, if straight men that love trans women, you should fess up. Just say, yeah, that's my girl. And yeah, I love her. And I've seen t-shirts with it. And you should be proud that you're with a trans woman. Amen. Because you know that you're with a trans woman, and she knows, and what anybody else cares is nobody's concern. It's none of their business. Exactly. You just care about yourself. So if you're out there and you're depressed, I want you to seek help. Mental health is your best bet. Seek it. Seek some form of mental health. Talk to somebody. It doesn't matter who. If you reach out, talk to somebody. They have hotlines. I know they have them in Brazil. They have them everywhere. And for the Brazilian murders, I think there's been over 124. You guys really need to take care, because we're all in the same boat. We're all one. 100%. As a nurse, I will tell you that when we die, everybody dies with their eyes in the back of their head, their mouth open. And everybody dies that way. White supremacists, racists, men that kill trans women, all of them die the same way. And trans women that are murdered die the same way too. We have to end this rash of murders, because trans women have a right to live. They have a right to be. They have a right to exist. And if you don't think that, then you need to reevaluate how you think. Because if you're listening to this, you need to take care of somebody that's trans, reach out to them, ask them how they're doing. Sometimes it's just one little thing, even a smile. But in these times with wearing a mask, you don't get much of a smile out of anything, but wave. You still can see, wave, anything. And you can
ask them how they're doing,
Yes, talk to them and say, I haven't seen you. Girl, are you okay? What's up? and to just talk to them.
We have a
So
lot of poverty here in Brazil.
those are my words of wisdom. Lift everybody up. Lift every trans woman and trans person, anybody that's under the moniker of LGBTQQIAT, whatever's there. The alphabet, the whole alphabet. Yeah, you all need to support one another. It is imperative. It's imperative. If we're to survive, if we're to move forward, I'd like to see, I don't know if I want to say 100, but I'd like to live a little longer. And this pandemic is taking out people of color.
I would love to meet you.
People of color. I'll try not to go before we meet. But
no, you better not. You better not, or I'll come.
but people are dying. And the people that it's affecting, you know who it's affecting. It's not affecting white people. It's affecting Blacks. Not so many Asians, but still it's affecting everybody, but mostly Blacks, Latinos. And Brazilians.
Exactly.
The pandemic is targeting everybody that's of color. Native Americans, let me not forget them. 100%. So when we raise people up, we need to lift up everybody that's disenfranchised. And if you're LGBT, whatever, the other alphabet, then you are still disenfranchised. You may not know it, but you are. But our voices are stronger. And with you, your youth, you can make it even stronger. And that's why we see all these people out there protesting, not just against Trump and all these murders and everything. You see the composition of all those people out there. They're kids, women, men, children, grandmothers. Everybody's against mistreatment of people. And the Black way the way that they've been policing Black people for so long, everybody is upset. And so we need to overturn this whole thing of racism. We need to start from box one, the first step. We need to overhaul the police department. We need to make sure that trans people are protected. We have to treat everybody the very best. And listen, Black lives matter. People of color matter. And don't forget it.
Amen. Veronika, it was my absolute pleasure to have
you are so sweet. You are so sweet and so kind.
A living queen.
Before you close me out, I just want to say this. It does not matter what you used to be and what you used to do. You need to look at yourself. Now, I've won all these titles and all these awards and all that. None of that matters. That was then. What matters is what you do now. And what you do now is stand up and fight. Fight against discrimination. If somebody's trying to kill you, fight them, bite them, get their DNA under your nails so that if you're killed, they'll still be able to get them. We need to, the police as they stand, we're not valuable enough for them. But once we overhaul the police department, all life will have the same value, and all Black lives will truly matter, and all trans lives will matter.
Exactly, as they do and as they should. Amen. I'm sending you a lot of hugs, a million kisses, and I want you to give a beijo to Brazil. Beijo.
Say it again. What I say?
Beijo.
Beijo.
Isso. Very good. And what do you know? Ciao.
Ciao.
It was my pleasure, my love.
Thank you so much for having me.
We'll be talking, okay?
Okay. Take care. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.